Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Glad that you have joined us on Grow Omaha. My name is Jeff Beals, your co-host, and we are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with D&M Roofing and Siding. Ladies and gentlemen, you will not find another show in the Omaha area that discusses what we discuss, and that is economic development, real estate and construction, really anything related to Omaha becoming more vibrant and more prosperous. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And normally I am joined by Trenton Magid, my good friend and longtime business partner on the show, but we're giving him the weekend off, as we are wont to do from time to time. And in his place is a familiar voice, Brad Williams of both E&A Consulting and Brad Williams Photography. Good morning, Brad.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Thanks for having me back.
Well, thanks for being here, and thanks for everything you do for Grow Omaha. How's everything going in the photography and civil engineering worlds these days?
Good. There's a lot going on in both. Still working on a lot of new projects around town in the civil engineering world, and photography is cool because there's some new businesses coming to Omaha that are going to have some of my photos in them.
And if people want to check out your photos, a lot of individuals, organizations, and companies use Brad's work. Just go to, appropriately enough, bradwilliamsphotography.com. Well, let's go into our news of the week. It is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. As it always is, we love Holly Schneiderwind and her team at Eagle Mortgage because they just do such a good job, and they're good people, pleasant to hang out with too, by the way. And Holly and her team at Eagle Mortgage will help you if you are about ready to make that big decision. For most people, buying a home is about the most expensive thing they buy. And you want to do it right, and you want to make sure the financing is taken care of. They do that. As a mortgage broker, they can shop a variety of banks. They're not beholden to just one, so they can work hard to get you the best possible loan that fits you, your goals, and your circumstances. You can find them in person at 114th and Davenport Street, just south of Dodge, or find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, Brad, we've talked about the core building at UNMC before, but this week, the Med Center and community leaders held the official groundbreaking. This is the $105 million project southwest of Saddle Creek Road in Farnham. CORE stands for Campus Operations and Research Excellence Building. Basically, it's going to be a 6-story building with a couple floors of admin space for the Med Center and then a lot of laboratory space. It'll be kind of the anchor along with the old steel mill for the West Saddle Creek campus for the Med Center.
Yeah, for a while, I think people were just calling it the administration tower before it had the name CORE, but the UNMC campus is amazing because every time you think, all right, the construction's slowing down, things are wrapping up, it's like, bam, here's the next project. Let's break ground and get going on it. And the steel castings building, if you haven't been by that, they've added more steel to it. So it's grown too.
Yeah, and that steel building will be what they call the catalyst, and there's going to be classrooms in there, meeting rooms. A big focus will be on the Med Center's efforts to take its innovations and apply them to private industry. So that's going to be a real cool facility. This core facility, though, right on the corner of Saddle Creek and Farnham, will be connected eventually to the new hospital buildings to the east, which haven't started yet, by a skywalk. And eventually, the plans call for that really cool outdoor lawn patio thing that would be kind of a lid over Saddle Creek Road. I can tell you this, though. They had the official groundbreaking this week, and when I did go by a couple days ago, they were full bore working on it. Tractors on site, so that thing should start going vertical in a few months.
Yeah, I feel like they've kind of been doing prep work for quite a while now, so I would expect it to get going fast.
That whole area has a lot of construction because if you go just a block or two to the north, the Child Saving Institute is now going full speed ahead on their expansion to the east side of their building. Just a little bit west to that is a 5-story, very large apartment complex that we've talked about a few times over the last couple of weeks. So that's kind of, and there's a hotel under construction in that area as well. So that's kind of a construction hotspot, if you will, in the metro area. Well, let's turn our sights to an area that's not too far from these new Med Center buildings, and that's 50th and Leavenworth Street. A local developer is planning on putting a 5-level building, 4 stories above ground, 53 apartments with covered indoor parking. This was a former laundromat that had operated there for a long time. Jorge Sotolongo from NAI NP Dodge, who does a lot of work with us here on Grow Omaha, and his colleague Gabriel Estivo sold that to the developer recently, and you should start to see some progress on there pretty soon. It's going to be another urban project in the metro core.
Yeah, that's going to be a large or a great improvement to that corner. That laundromat has seen much better days, and it'll be a real nice boost to the neighborhood. And Brad, it just carries on the momentum that we're seeing in that whole. We refer to it as the urban core, but it's basically downtown and the area to the west that we refer to as Midtown, and it's just one project after another. The vision that so many of us have for the urban core in Omaha is this densely populated, very well kept, very actively used, fun, vibrant place that kicks off a lot of economic activity. And all parts of that vision are absolutely in full motion right now, moving toward that goal. It's so cool. Yeah, and just looking at Leavenworth Street itself, from 480 all the way west to basically Elmwood Park, there's just project after project. Don't stop. It's really neat to see the transformation.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned Leavenworth, because there are several planned projects on Leavenworth that we believe are still happening that haven't even begun. Yeah. I mean, you've got at 30th and Leavenworth, right by Park Avenue, a really cool multifamily kind of mixed-use building there. There are plans for things, or there's going to be that little slip-in building right by the convenience store at about, what is that, 38th or something?
I was thinking 33rd, but
33rd. What's that?
36.
Okay,
36,
Roger Olson, producer, says 36th and Leavenworth. Thank you, Roger. So yeah, a lot more to come on that corridor.
And even if you go out west to those new townhomes that just finished up, on 52nd or 53rd.
Yeah.
Those look really nice.
Yeah, Noddle Companies did a great job with those. And so much potential. It wasn't that many years ago where Leavenworth was kind of an embarrassing corridor to drive down. And now I kind of look forward to driving Leavenworth because there's so much to look at and still so much more to come. Well, if we go to North Downtown, we want to draw your attention to the future Baby Bob Bridge. This will be the pedestrian bridge that connects to a pedestrian bridge. In other words, when you wanted to use the Bob Carey Missouri River pedestrian bridge, you had to go around the back of the CHI Center, over the railroad tracks, and access it from there. But that was a problem because so much activity happens in around the CHI and Charles Schwab Field. So we're working on a pedestrian bridge there. And on the north side of the CHI right now, it's all torn up in that corridor. It looks to me like they are working on the approach to the future Baby Bob. So that's coming along. Long time coming.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it a few times when I've been on, but that long overdue. It should have been done when the ballpark was built, I say.
Yeah, it is definitely needed, but that should bring even more energy to both the riverfront and to North Downtown, because in urban areas, it's all about the connectivity. Very, very important. Hey, a couple of suburban projects that we want to mention briefly. At the northwest corner of 108th and Giles Road in La Vista, there is a 2-story steel skeleton in place, and some people have called in, what is that? It's going to be a building for Elite Glass Services, a company out in Sarpy County. Also in Sarpy County, Metonic Real Estate has completed construction on 5 of the 12 buildings at Vistara. It's either Vestara or Vistara. It's Vestara. Vistara 72. It's a 154-unit apartminium project. That means apartments that are designed to look like what are normally considered condos. Just east of Shadow Lake Town Center in Papillion, the entire project is expected to be fully done third quarter of next year. And Brad, as we talk about so many projects that are on the drawing board right now, Trent and I have talked about this, but I want to mention it to you as well. The year 2026. The year 2026 will be the year that Omaha becomes a new city, because so many things that we've been talking about lately are scheduled for 2026.
Yeah, they drive around town and everything you see right now, I think, is 2026. So, in fact, on the way to the studio this morning, I saw a project that said 2026 on it.
Yeah.
So.
Basically, if it's something big, plan on going to a lot of ribbon cuttings and grand openings in 2026.
You just hope the next 2 years are, the economy and the job market and the weather and everything cooperates.
Yeah, so we can keep these things on schedule and on target.
Yep, for sure.
We shall see. Exciting stuff to be sure. And that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com, or you can stop by the office at 114th and Davenport. Well, we're going to be talking about the franchise business and how why people get into franchise businesses, how you can buy a franchise business. And we have an expert with us, Blake Martin. He is the head of FranNet of the Heartland. And after we come back from this break, we're going to ask Blake a bunch of franchise questions. You'll like this even if you're not thinking about starting one, because we are all customers of franchises. So enjoy this. We'll be back shortly. After this, you're listening to Jeff Beals and Brad Williams substituting for Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Brad Williams of E&A Consulting and Brad Williams Photography. He is substituting, as he often does, for Trenton Magid, who has the weekend off. This is the only show that talks about growth and development in the Omaha area, and we thank Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding for making that possible. Keep them in mind and support them because they do such a good job of making this content available to you. Well, we're going to talk about the franchise business. So many of the businesses that people buy these days are franchises, and there's a lot of reasons for it. And we're going to kind of get an update on what's going on in that franchise world with our local expert, Blake Martin. Blake is the owner of FranNet of the Heartland. Good morning, Blake. Welcome back.
Thanks a lot. It's great to be here again.
Yeah, good to have you on the show. And why don't you start with a 30,000-foot view of FranNet of the Heartland? What is it that you guys do, and how do you help your clients?
Well, thanks for asking. So if you chose my industry category from a drop-down menu, it'd be franchise broker and consultant. So think of us as the Match.com for local entrepreneurs. What I mean when I say that is we provide no-cost coaching and consulting to folks who are looking to start a business, but they're not quite sure what kind of business is the right fit for them. So it could be a serial entrepreneur who's looking for their next business, or it could be that corporate refugee or wannabe corporate refugee who says, now's the time, I want to start building my own dream rather than somebody else's. And we guide them and offer them support in determining, first of all, is the franchising route the right way versus hanging your own shingle or buying an existing business? And if franchising is the right route for them, give them the tools and resources to help eat that elephant. There's 4,000 franchise opportunities out there. So how do you choose? Where do you begin that process? And that's what we help people walk through.
So let's say a person wants to get involved in this line of work. Okay, they've always, maybe they're a soon-to-be corporate refugee. I love that terminology, by the way, Blake. And they want to get out of that rat race. So what happens when they first meet with you guys? I mean, because the stretch of time that exists between I think I might leave this job and buy a business to I own my own franchise and it's actually making money is full of a lot of steps.
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. So that conversation typically starts with a lot of discussion about what are we trying to achieve here, right? What's the motivators? What are the priorities? And it's not just, I don't like my job anymore, right? That's not something that is going to motivate you to get through the challenges of starting your own business. There's tough days, weeks, and months, I know myself, right? But what are you trying to achieve here? Is it more flexibility? Is it more time with your family? Do you want to start knowing your next door neighbors better than you do the shuttle driver at Epley Airport? Those are the real motivators that are going to drive people to do their own thing. So we talk a lot about what are you trying to achieve here? And we help build a blueprint, a nod to your industry, Brad. We help them build a blueprint for what does that ideal business look like for you, your family, anybody else who's involved in this decision.
When I was a kid, which is starting to be a long time ago, when you would think of buying a franchise, you would think of buying a McDonald's, okay, or like a fast food restaurant or something like that. But now there are infinite examples of businesses that are available through the franchising mechanism. Blake, what are the most common, or can I say hottest types of businesses for people to buy franchises?
I appreciate you asking. So you're right. Franchises in many cases are kind of like Transformers, the toys or the movies that we saw. A lot of them are hiding in plain sight. And you might not even know that it's a franchise, but that's okay because you know that they're still locally owned and operated, and they've got the backing of the national organization that's been there, done that. So some of those industries that are hot, and it won't surprise you, home service businesses, right? So that became very popular during COVID. Everybody wanted to get a project done on their home. But they were already having record years just before that, and we're continuing to see that now. So whether that's a business that helps with modifications to a home, or they have some specialty like bathroom remodeling or painting, franchises tend to take existing mousetraps and improve them for that business owner. You also see businesses that always sustain no matter what's going on in the economy, like education, kids' activities, so actually providing support and structure for kids' activities, and healthcare-related businesses. Those have been very big for the last decade in franchising, all three of those.
Since I'm filling in for Trenton, I figure I better ask, what's the most unique franchise out there you can think of?
It's the zinger question. Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. There's a lot of them, right? So one of them is a business that helps provide STEM education to kids. Another one is a business that does Montessori. So if anybody who's a listener or any of you guys in the room have had kids and you're looking for some kind of Montessori preschool, good luck. It's almost impossible to find one. There's a franchise out there called Ivy Brook, and we've got a brother and sister in town who are bringing it to town for the first time, and it is a part-time Montessori education daycare.
Cool.
Not exactly what you think of when you think of franchising, right?
No, not at all. We were talking off the air about franchising, and I just shared a little bit that I've worked for a big corporate franchise back in a previous career, and I've also worked for a mom and pop, and the amount of structure and systems in place in the franchise world is really just amazing. I mean, you don't have to be an expert at what you're doing to get into a business because a lot of those franchises provide all that for you.
I think you make a good point that sometimes people underestimate until they really start digging into this business. I'm a good example, actually. So we practice what we preach at FranNet. We are our franchise system ourselves. So I'm a franchisee teaching other people what it's like and whether it's the right move to get into the franchising industry. Now, I was in the field for a long time before I decided to start my own franchise. And I could argue to myself, well, I know this business already. Do I really need a franchise? But to your point, the systems, the processes, and the tools that make it easier, that made it easier for me to get to break even and continue to grow and scale. And frankly, to learn from somebody else's successes and mistakes, because mistakes in starting your own business can be really expensive. So to be able to learn from those examples, incredibly valuable to me, regardless of whether you have that brand recognition, right? Like, who knows what a FranNet is? But I still invested in it because I knew it could save me time and money.
We're talking with Blake Martin, owner of FranNet of the Heartland. And Blake, earlier, we were talking about potential franchisees coming and talking to you and kind of the counseling you provide. Do you do any services for potential franchisors? Any companies that are thinking, hey, maybe we ought to spread this concept we have and get it all over the world?
We absolutely do, and it's a legacy addiction for me. So I grew up in the franchising industry, helping to turn businesses into franchises, both here and abroad. And one of the things that we embrace at FranNet is there are plenty of business owners out there who are thinking, I could replicate this, right? I could grow this to more locations. But what I want people who are running these locations who have the same skin in the game and love this business as much as me. So I want them to be owners or have an owner's mentality like me. And a lot of times the franchising model is a great fit for that. So we help folks through the process of how do I take this business from the flagship location or locations and grow it outside of Omaha or grow it outside of the market that I've based it in, and give them the tools and resources to take that thing from one location to a whole lot of owners that collaborate and learn from each other.
So let me take it in a little bit of a different route here. So much of what we read about in the Wall Street Journal and in business publications these days revolves around artificial intelligence. Everything is AI. Everything. Well, our jobs even exist in 10 years because of AI. How is AI having an impact on the franchising world?
Our organization has embraced it fully. We try to follow our own advice that the worst thing that can happen to an organization is 40 years of success if you don't remain nimble and innovative. So something groundbreaking is coming out in our industry, in this niche of franchise brokerage. It's called MyQualify, and we've been working on it in the background for a couple of years now. And it is a product that allows the person searching for a business, the person searching for a franchise, to self-direct their search. And they can bring in a person, an individual like me, a real person they can talk to wherever they want in that process. But what we've done is we built, it's based on a ChatGPT type skeleton, right? But we've also integrated 35 years of knowledge and the knowledge of helping about 17,000 people successfully enter the franchising and small business industry. So we've baselined it and built in a scoring product that helps people figure out, am I a good fit for franchising? And if so, what kind of franchise might I want to consider and talk to? It's called MyQualify again, and what we've done with this is try to create the convenience and the self-directed approach. Folks like, well, you're too young, but you take somebody older like Trenton, right? He remembers a time.
I love it because we're the same age, but go ahead.
I was really hoping he'd be here so I could say that to his face. He remembers a time when it seemed weird to make a purchase off the internet. He and I remember a time when, hey, if you wanted to get a ride somewhere, you took a taxi. Or if you wanted to get a car, there was no Carvana, right? Well, now, if you want to research and analyze a franchise without talking to a guy or a gal and you just want to do it in the privacy of your own home at your own pace, reach out to us. I'll connect you with MyQualify, and you can self-direct that search.
Another minute here with Blake Martin, owner of FranNet of the Heartland. Before we let you go, Blake, we wanted to bring up two things. First of all, you guys have a fundraiser and annual celebration of entrepreneurship that is becoming a must-attend event lately. Tell us about that.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. So this will be our 6th annual celebration and fundraiser. I'm a big believer, Jeff, in if a community helps you achieve a level of success in small business, then the way you give back is by contributing back to that community. So each year we do this celebration and fundraiser to help raise funds, to celebrate entrepreneurship, certainly, and the successes we've seen, but to help raise funds for a small charity in town. And this year, Deaf Child Hope International, which helps the 25 million deaf children in the poorest countries in the world who live in poverty and isolation. It provides them with hope, it provides them with language, sign language, and food and shelter. And J.D. King of Deaf Child Hope International founded that company right here in Omaha.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So we're going to highlight that next Friday, the 10th, from 4 to 7 p.m., and it's down at the Hot Shops Art Center, like always.
And then if people want to participate, do they sign up, or how does that work?
Yeah, we ask them to RSVP. So if you have an interest in small business or business in general, and you're a listener of this show, so you are, or you just have an interest in giving back to the community, then go to frannetparty.eventbrite.com and RSVP. It's down at the Hot Shops next Friday, 4 to 7 p.m.
All right, real fast. There are some people here that are there are some people listening right now that are seriously thinking about franchises. What do they do to get the ball rolling with you and look into the process?
Yeah, just reach out to me. You can hit me via email at bmartin@frannet.com, or you can just look me up on LinkedIn and connect me that way. Or if it's easiest, just go to FranNetoftheHeartland.com. Reach out to me. We'll get in touch. There is no cost. There is no obligation. The one obligation is you have to be willing to take the research seriously.
I love it. Blake, thanks for joining us and bringing us up to speed with what's going on in the franchise world.
Thanks a lot for having me again. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Blake Martin of FranNet of the Heartland going to take our middle of the show break. You are listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Brad Williams, who is substituting for Trenton Magid today. Brad of E&A Consulting and Brad Williams Photography. Now, we are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Thank you to those companies for making this possible. D&M, as the name would indicate, in the roofing and siding business. I've been doing it for a long time, both residential and commercial roofs. And then Dingman's, take care of your car. They have 4 metro area locations, so bumps, bruises, scratch and scrapes, or even big-time accidents, they work on all of that and do a great job with it. Well, Brad, it is time for our Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. And this week we have Interrail Food Hall. It is in Exarban Village, which is a Noddle Company's project. And Brad, Interrail has been a huge hit ever since it opened. But right now, there are actually plans underway to improve the outdoor patio.
Yeah, I saw that. They're going to remodel the patio already, or add amenities.
And that's pretty quick because the food hall hasn't been around that long. But
3 years, right? 2020 is when it opened?
That's what I was thinking. And that patio, though, if you have a day where the weather is just even decent, that patio is going to be full.
Yeah, last night was probably a perfect example of that. I bet it was packed because last night was perfect.
Yeah, oh yeah, last night, great night to be out and about, and Exarban Village is certainly one of the best places to go hang out when it's an evening out.
Speaking of Exarban Village, Kincaid Brewing Company, which is right south of the food hall, they have a new beer that supports the Bull Market, which is UNO's NIL program.
Oh, no kidding.
Bull Market Lager. I had it the other day. It's pretty good, pretty tasty.
Well, people should go try it and support UNO NIL. That's important stuff. If you want to enjoy competitive teams in your city these days, you got to pay for them.
Yeah, you do.
You got to pay for them. Exarban's doing great, though. Not only this nice patio renovation for Interrail Food Hall, which is one of the coolest places to go have lunch in all of Omaha. Just interesting, a lot of shops in the HDR headquarters ground floor. RUB, which is the rotisserie urban chicken place.
Did it open?
I think it's getting really close. Okay. It still has the sign on it, which indicates that it's not open when I went by a couple days ago. Yeah. And then there's been some shifting of other retailers in that HDR building, like the handbag store is now on the southwest corner instead of the east side. And I don't know, the village is doing great. Been a lot of concrete work done there, so it's kind of getting a fresh look.
Kind of sprucing it up a little bit. And the outdoor bar there on the north side by the dog park, north side of HDR, that whole area looks really cool driving by, especially in the evening when it's dusk and all the lights are on. It's a cool area.
It's awesome. People love it. And thanks to Noddle Companies for being one of our key sponsors here. Noddle is a national full-service real estate company, but they're headquartered right here in Omaha. And among the many things that Noddle Companies have done, headquarters development. They've been involved in HDR, Kiewit, and Valmont Industries headquarters just within the last few years. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking residential or retail or something else, Noddle Companies creates communities. We already mentioned Exarban Village, but Builders District and so many others. NoddleCompanies.com is where you find them online. Well, Brad, we want to talk a little bit about some construction nerd topic here, and that's tower cranes.
Yes.
We love it when the tower crane is the official city bird of Omaha.
And there's a lot of birds in town right now.
It is bird migration season. So Mutual of Omaha, of course, is building what will be the tallest building in a multi-state region. It will be opening in 2026 at 14th and Farnham. So there's a tower crane there. And you can also see tower cranes around the Omaha area at 37th and Farnham. That's where a 9-story mixed-use building is under construction in the Blackstone District. There's another one for a hotel that's under construction not far from Saddle Creek and Dodge. But then we have some more new tower cranes that are getting started.
Yeah, two new ones that are going up right now. One is at 72nd and Dodge for the library. you pointed that out this morning, and I drove by, and I have a picture that I will post up on the Grow Omaha Facebook page after the show.
Very good.
And the Heartland Center, walked by that one last night when we were walking around downtown, and they're springing up everywhere.
Yeah, so the Heartland Center is expanding to the east, and the addition will be known as the Tenaska Center for Arts Engagement, 3-story, $108 million building. And so both the tower cranes at the Tenaska Heartland Center and the one at the future Central Flagship Library are just the bases now, but soon they'll have the whole apparatus.
Yeah, it seems like they put that base in pretty quickly and then wait a little bit to get the rest of the crane up. Then you're kind of starting rumors or speculating that there might be another one coming.
Well, yeah, so I thought, okay, we have all these tower cranes in town. Where might there be some others? And I was thinking, okay, so Children's Hospital is building a 4-story behavioral health hospital on the west side of their campus. I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a tower crane there because it'll be a pretty sizable building.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they needed one for that building we talked about a little earlier in the show, the core building at the Med Center. That might, with 6 stories, that might justify a tower crane.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what the threshold is when it makes sense and when it doesn't. 6 seems like it's a pretty good number for a tower crane.
Yeah, but yet there's room around that core building at the Med Center, because it seems like if there's not a lot of room around the building and it's a few stories, then you're going to get one. But if they can maneuver the traditional cranes around, maybe they don't need one. So anyway, we'll keep you up to date with the city official bird report. But with that, we're going to take our final break of the hour. And when we come back, it'll be the Turner Construction Lightning Round. And looking at the list, there's a lot of good things on there, so stay with us. It's Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Brad Williams, who's substituting for Trenton Magid. And it's time for your Turner Construction Lightning Round. Of course, brought to you by Turner Construction, which is building Omaha's future. Turner is a general contractor with deep experience, deep bench, deep resources, and they bring that all to your local construction project. Doesn't matter whether it's office space, a warehouse building, maybe you're building out retail space in a shopping center. Doesn't matter. Turner does all of it, from the very large to the small and everything in between. When it comes to the big, they're doing a massive project at Offutt Air Force Base, bringing the base back after those tragic floods from a few years ago. And they also, another real big project that they're famous for here in Omaha is the Big Sarpy County Data Center along Highway 50. So Turner Construction, appreciate them making this possible. All right, Brad, let's get into it. A lot of restaurant talk. First of all, we have Cohen, which is a Japanese barbecue and sushi place out of Lincoln that plans to open in a new building in the Blackstone District. There was a Blackstone District building that was constructed just to be for restaurants. And it's about, what is it?
So where they tore down those
two old... microphone, there you go.
Is it where they tore down those 2 old apartment buildings?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're going to be on the upper floor of that building. And then the lower floor of that building has a leased sign on it. Not sure what it is. I've heard rumors about it might be like cookies or something like that, but I can't verify that for sure yet. But we do know that Cohen, the Japanese barbecue and sushi place from Lincoln, is going upstairs. Also in the Blackstone District, Cunningham's Pub and Grill is going to expand into the old Sternella space at 38th and Farnham.
This will be a good addition to the Blackstone. The original Cunningham's is right next to the E&A office, and we love walking over there for lunch. It's a great place. They have a great food, and if you go there for happy hour, they have lots of great beers too.
Yeah, it is a good place. Very good sports bar food.
Sternella was great too. It's just too bad they weren't able to make it, but Cunningham's will be a great replacement.
Well, and if there's any industry that comes and goes, it's restaurants.
That's very true.
Speaking of restaurants, Action Burger plans to take over the former Burgerim space in the Capital District, 225 North 12th Street. And this is a 1,500 square foot space, and Action Burger has the same owners as Frank's Pizzeria, which has a location around the corner. And then we have 2 new retailers at Westroads. Soft Mock is a shoe and footwear retailer, national brand out of Canada in the former Suncoast Video Space second level. And then Garage is preparing to open its first Nebraska store on the second level between Maurice's and Bath and Body Works. It sells casual clothing targeted to teenagers and young women. And speaking of clothing, Lindley Clothing is expanding. They're out at Linden Marketplace. They're taking over the former Claxton Fireplace Center, and they're going to have Well Suited by Lindley, which will focus on wedding attire.
That's a Omaha company, right? That's been around for a long time.
Yeah, and nice stuff. I've been in there a couple times, bought a couple things, and nice place. Renovations are underway in the former Pottery Barn Kids Bay at Regency Shopping Center. That will be a J. Crew factory store. Plans to open this winter, right by Borsheim's. And then Comfort Made Mattress Factory has leased 8,000 square feet at West Greyhawk Shopping Center. They build, they have custom-made mattresses, and they're out of Lincoln, so they'll be expanding to the Omaha area. And then we have some construction going on. Highway 370, 192nd, Walgreens, Scooters, Chipotle, and Veridian Credit Union under development there.
All getting ready for the big Fleet Farm opening someday.
Yeah, and of course the Hy-Vee that's already there.
Yep.
Two Fine Irishmen has closed at 181st and Q Street. A lot of weird rumors about what might be going in there, perhaps a questionable business. I popped my head in Monday night, and there were people working in there, and I said, "What's going in here?" And they said, "We're remodeling it, but we don't have anyone in mind." And they had a little bit of a weird look on their face when they told me that. So who knows whether it'll be another bar, another business, or a strip club. Who knows what could be coming to 100
That's what the next door is saying, apparently.
Yeah, and we don't trust what they say on next door, but
I don't.
but that is the rumor going around, and who knows whether that's true or not. There's a new business called the Lazy Leopard going into the former Cool Green space in the Blackstone District, 3618 Farnham Street. We got to look into this. We don't know what the Lazy Leopard is.
By that name, I'm guessing it's a bar, but...
Well, for old Omahans would remember, and I'm sure Roger Olson was there once or twice, the Lazy Leopard Lounge at the old New Tower Inn, 78th? 78th and Dodge, yeah. I remember going to that. So I don't know if it's going to be like that. That was a real 70s or 60s looking lounge.
Right where Duluth Trading is now.
Yeah, that was the old New Tower Inn back in the day. Hey, there's one business at 192nd and Highway 370 that I failed to mention as I was going through the list, and that is Culver's has opened in that area. And I guess with the music playing, Brad, the last thing we'll talk about today is a Culver's shop. Yeah. So with that, I appreciate you joining us as you often do.
Oh, I enjoy it so much. Thanks for having me on again.
Brad Williams is with ENA Consulting, a civil engineering firm, and the owner of Brad Williams Photography. Trenton will be back next week. In the meantime, I hope everyone has a great week. I'm Jeff Beals, and you've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, D&M Roofing and Siding, and Turner Construction on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.